Hello viewers, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more interesting stories, like and share to your friends and loved ones. Thank you as you do so. Sit back, relax as we dive into the story. Samantha was a 38-year-old woman with a quiet life in Portland. After her divorce 5 years ago, she had learned to enjoy the peace of her little two-story house. The bottom floor was hers, cozy and filled with books, soft lighting, and warm colors. The upper floor was a small apartment she rented out to make ends meet. Her newest tenant, Daniel, had moved in just 3 months ago. He was polite, soft-spoken, and kept to himself. A tall, handsome man in his late 20s, Daniel worked night shifts at a nearby warehouse, which meant Samantha hardly saw him during the day. When they did speak, it was always short and respectful, just small talk in the kitchen or hallway. That Thursday afternoon was quiet. The air outside was cool, and Samantha was cleaning her living room while music played softly from her speaker. As she walked past the stairs to grab the vacuum cleaner, she paused. She heard a soft, strange sound coming from above. It was faint, but enough to catch her attention. At first, she thought something might be wrong. Maybe Daniel had fallen or needed help. She turned off the music and stood still, listening. The sound came again, this time a bit louder. It wasn't furniture moving or someone talking. It was different. Worried, she walked slowly up the stairs and reached the door to the upstairs apartment. She knocked lightly. "Daniel? Are you okay?" No answer. She waited a few seconds and knocked again, this time louder. Still nothing. Her heart beat a little faster now. The door wasn't locked, it was slightly open. That was unusual. Daniel always kept it shut. Samantha hesitated. What if he was hurt? She gently pushed the door open and peeked inside. The apartment was dimly lit. The curtains were half drawn, letting in a bit of sunlight. She stepped in quietly and moved toward the small hallway that led to the bedroom. That's when she saw him. Daniel was standing by the edge of his bed, shirtless, facing the wall. He was in his own world, completely unaware of her presence. His eyes were closed, and his breathing was heavy. His jeans were pulled halfway down, and his hand— Samantha gasped silently and quickly turned around. Her heart pounded in her chest. She could feel the heat rise to her face. What did she just walk into? She stepped back, gently pulling the door shut behind her without making a sound. Then she rushed down the stairs, trying to catch her breath. She leaned against the wall in her living room, her hand over her heart. "Oh my God," she whispered to herself. She wasn't angry. She wasn't even shocked in a bad way. She was surprised. And maybe a little curious. She had never thought of Daniel like that before. But now, after what she had just seen, she couldn't get the image out of her head. She made herself a cup of tea, hoping to calm down, but her hands still shook a little. That private moment had unlocked something inside her, a feeling she hadn't felt in years. She told herself it was just a mistake. She hadn't meant to see anything. She would forget about it. But she didn't. That night, as she lay in bed, her mind kept going back to that moment. And deep inside, she knew something had changed. Samantha didn't sleep well that night. She tossed and turned, her mind racing. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't shake off the image of Daniel, his body, his face, the way he moved. It played again and again in her thoughts. She wasn't ashamed, just confused and curious. It had been a long time since she felt anything like this. She woke up early, even though she didn't need to. The house was silent, except for the soft hum of the fridge in the kitchen. She made herself coffee and tried to act normal, but her chest felt tight. Around 10 in the morning, she heard footsteps on the stairs. Daniel. He never came down this early. Samantha took a deep breath. She didn't know what to say or how to act. She looked down at her robe, making sure it was tied properly. She didn't want to look like she was trying too hard, but she also didn't want to seem distant. The knock came. She opened the door, and there he was, Daniel, standing awkwardly with his hands in his pockets. His eyes met hers, but then quickly looked away. "Hey," he said softly. "Can we talk?" Samantha nodded and stepped aside to let him in. He walked in slowly and stood in the middle of her living room like he wasn't sure what to do with himself. She sat down on the armrest of the couch, her arms folded, waiting. He rubbed the back of his neck. About yesterday. I didn't know the door was open. I didn't know you were there. I'm really sorry. Samantha stayed quiet for a moment. Then she gave him a small smile. It's okay, Daniel. I shouldn't have walked in like that. I feel embarrassed, he added, eyes still low. I've never had anything like that happen before. Samantha stood up, her voice calm. Don't worry. You're a grown man. It's your space. I shouldn't have seen anything. Let's just forget it, okay? Daniel looked up then. Their eyes met. Something passed between them, something neither of them could explain. From that day, something changed. The air between them felt different. Charged. Every glance, every movement seemed heavier. When they passed each other in the hallway, their shoulders brushed just a little longer than before. When Daniel came into the kitchen to grab a drink, he lingered. And Samantha, she felt it too. One afternoon, she was watering her plants on the porch when Daniel came home. His shirt was clinging to his body, sweat glistening on his skin from the sun. She watched him longer than she should have, her cheeks flushing. He noticed. You okay? He asked, smiling. She nodded. Hot day. Very hot, he replied, but the way he said it wasn't just about the weather. That evening, Samantha made dinner and, without thinking, brought up an extra plate. She told herself it was just kindness. But deep down, she wanted him to stay. He did. They ate together, talked about simple things, movies, work, dreams. She noticed how his voice became softer when he talked to her. He looked at her like she wasn't just a landlord, like she was a woman. After dinner, he helped her wash the dishes. Their hands touched in the soap and water. Both froze, neither pulling away. Thank you, she whispered, her voice lower than usual. Daniel leaned a little closer. For what? For being here. He stared at her lips for a second, then slowly stepped back. I should go, he said, his voice rough. Samantha nodded. Okay. But as he turned to leave, she noticed his hand shake just a little, and that made her heart beat faster. That night, as she changed into her nightgown and slid under the sheets, she felt something stir deep inside her. The line between tenant and landlord was getting blurry, and neither of them wanted to fix it. The next morning, Samantha woke up thinking about Daniel again. She couldn't deny it anymore. The way he looked at her, the way her body reacted when he was near, it was no longer just curiosity. It was desire. And something deeper too, a longing she hadn't felt in years. The day passed slowly. She tried to distract herself with cleaning, cooking, even reading, but nothing worked. Every little sound made her heart jump, hoping it was him. By evening, rain started falling outside. Soft at first, then heavier. Samantha loved the rain. She poured herself a glass of red wine, changed into a soft sweater and leggings, and curled up on the couch. Then she heard it, gentle knocking on the door. Her heart skipped. She opened it. Daniel stood there, a little wet from the rain, holding a small box in his hand. I brought cheesecake, he said with a shy smile. Thought you might want dessert. Samantha laughed. You always know the way to my heart. He stepped inside, kicked off his shoes, and they sat together in the warm living room. The lights were low, the storm outside humming like a lullaby. They shared the cheesecake, laughing and teasing over silly things. He wiped a bit of cream from her lip with his thumb, and the moment paused. Their eyes locked. His thumb lingered. Samantha didn't move. Daniel spoke first, voice low. Can I ask you something? She nodded slowly. Do you feel it too, or is it just me? Her heart pounded. She didn't speak right away. Then, softly, she replied, I feel it. The silence grew thick with tension. Daniel shifted closer. I've been trying to stay away. I didn't want to cross a line. Samantha's voice was barely above a whisper. Maybe the line was never there. That was all it took. He leaned in slowly, giving her time to stop him. She didn't. Their lips touched, gentle at first, tasting, learning. Then deeper, hungry, like all the quiet days and heavy glances had been waiting for this one release. Her hands slid into his hair, pulling him closer. His arms wrapped around her waist, holding her like she was something fragile and precious. Samantha felt alive again, her skin burning, her heart racing. She hadn't been touched like this in years. They didn't speak as he lifted her gently and carried her to the bedroom. The rain continued tapping against the windows, like music just for them. Every kiss, every touch, was slow and full of meaning. They weren't just giving in to desire. They were learning each other's pain, silence, and hunger. Daniel touched her like she was art, carefully, with both hands and heart. Samantha felt something bloom inside her. It wasn't just heat, it was comfort, connection. That night, they weren't landlord and tenant. They were two lonely hearts, finally finding a home. The morning light slipped softly through the curtains, touching Samantha's bare shoulder as she lay still, her head resting against Daniel's chest. His arm was wrapped around her, fingers gently stroking her back. Neither of them spoke for a while. There was no rush, no guilt, only warmth. Samantha slowly lifted her head and looked at him. He was already awake, watching her with soft eyes. "Good morning," she whispered. Daniel smiled. "Best one I've had in a long time." She laughed quietly and rested her head back on his chest. It had been years since she'd woken up in someone's arms. Years since she felt this kind of peace. And yet, none of it felt wrong. After a few minutes, Daniel spoke. "I didn't expect this to happen," he said gently. "I didn't think you'd feel the same." Samantha sat up slightly, pulling the sheet around her. "Neither did I. But last night didn't feel like a mistake." "It wasn't," he said quickly, his voice firm. "Not at all." They got out of bed slowly, moving around each other with soft smiles and shy glances. As they shared coffee in the kitchen, everything felt new, but comfortable, like something that had been waiting to happen.
Daniel stayed longer that day.
He didn't rush upstairs like before. They talked about life, shared stories they hadn't told before. Samantha learned about his childhood, his broken family, the loneliness he tried to hide. He learned about her past, her ex-husband who made her feel invisible, and the years she spent pretending she was okay. As the days passed, their secret connection grew deeper. It wasn't just about the night they shared. It was about how they made each other feel.
Safe, seen, alive.
One evening, they sat on the porch, watching the sun set after another rain. Daniel turned to her and said, "I used to feel like I didn't belong anywhere. Until I moved here.
Until I met you."
Samantha felt her throat tighten. "I used to feel the same way, like my life had already happened. But now, I think I was just waiting for something real." He took her hand, threading his fingers through hers. "You didn't just help me," Daniel said softly. "You changed me." Samantha looked into his eyes, and in that moment, she knew what started as something unexpected, something quiet and unspoken, had grown into something strong and beautiful. He wasn't just her tenant anymore. He was the man who reminded her that it's never too late to feel love again. And as they sat together, fingers intertwined, hearts steady, they both understood one truth. Sometimes, life gives you a second chance. And this time, neither of them was letting go. That brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you do, click on the subscribe button and share to whoever is interested in. Thanks for watching.